Otafest podcast listeners. We are back with the second episode of 2025. It's time for our winter anime preview. I'm Jay, and with me is Angelo.
Hello, Jay. I'm Angelo.
Where's Nancy?
Nancy has become Perito.
Yeah, she ain't feeling too well, but that's okay. We've got all the anime you need. But in the meantime, I've got some news and announcements for you, starting with cafe applications are now open. Otafest is looking for energetic and passionate volunteers to join our cafe team for this year's event. Get a behind the scenes look at one of Calgary's biggest anime festivals, meet new friends, and gain volunteer experience while having a total blast.
Friendly reminder that cosplay meetup applications are now open. Deadline to apply is February 9th, 2025. After a 6-year hiatus, cosplay meetups are back at Otafest. These meetups are scheduled, unofficial group photo shoots that are open to cosplayers and fans of specific fandoms or series. Otafest provides the space and time so attendees can focus on hosting meetups.
You can find more information on otafest.com for how to sign up.
Yeah. And now on to our regularly scheduled winter anime preview.
We have some serious bangers.
Oh yeah. I feel like I need that classic monster truck reverb when I say that. I wish I could just turn that on my vocal cords. Like punch myself in the neck and then Sunday, winter anime preview.
I feel like punching yourself in the neck is expressly how not to activate any kind of reverb.
I know, but it'd be fun. it would be very punchy, you know?
Mm.
It would add impact.
It's okay. You have natural impact. You don't need augmentations.
And so, first up, we've got Zenshu by Studio Mappa, a comedy romance anime. After graduating from high school, Natsuko Hirose starts a career as an animator. Her talent quickly flourishes, and she makes her debut as a director in no time. Her first anime becomes a massive hit, sparking a social phenomenon and earning her recognition as an up-and-coming genius director. Her next project is set to be a romantic comedy movie themed around first love. However, having never been in love herself, Natsuko struggles to understand the concept of first love, and as a result, she's unable to create the storyboard, causing the movie production to come to a standstill.
Not gonna lie, that's not what I got from the trailer.
That is not what you get from the trailer. That is actually, so the first episode is out for this right now. I believe the second episode is out as of recording. That is about the first 10 minutes of the episode. And the trailer informs us that this is in fact an isekai anime. How does that make you feel, Jay?
Gotta love it. It's the most popular genre for a reason. It's because we all love it.
Oh yeah, we all love isekai. Give me that isekai. Every season I just take out my anime cereal bowl and I go out to the pantry and I grab my isekai anime box and I just eat it up every single time.
It's everywhere. When you pour out your alphabet cereal, when you open up a can of SpaghettiOs or Alphagetti, every letter spells isekai.
I wish I were joking. I fucking love isekai. As horrible, bloated, slop-infested genre as it is, every now and then something interesting comes along. And Studio Mappa is a studio that I trust to put out a good product. And Zenshu is exceptionally well animated. It is a gorgeous bit of anime.
I want to go back a little bit here. Let's talk about what we did see in the trailer compared to the description, because the reason why my first comment was, this is not what we saw, is because we do see Natsuko. She is an artiste. She doesn't appear to be, to me at least, she doesn't appear to be a director. She appeared more to be like one of the artists working on in a studio, but she takes it very hard on herself and like needs to meet deadlines, and it's very much like she's working under crunch and everything like that. and then she collapses, and then she wakes up in the isekai world of her favorite show, which is like a more of a high fantasy.
I have watched the first episode, and no, the description as given is entirely accurate, 100%
Mm,
accurate to the first 10 minutes of the episode.
interesting.
100%. She is the animation director. She worked up from being like an in-betweener, a keyframe artist. She's gone through all the steps, an episode director and everything. She is the director for a movie. And she has barely begun creating storyboards. She's been stuck on storyboarding for months.
I see. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not really disappointed to hear what you said because I like the idea more personally. Um, but it's when you have trailers where you're like completely thrown off. Because honestly, I was not that interested in the trailer. I am more interested in what you've described for the first 10 minutes and the episode or the series description itself.
When I first read the description for this, what was that old anime that was about making anime? I can't remember its name, but it was an anime about an episode director working at an anime studio and trying to wrangle everybody around it. It was about the business of making anime. And it was a fantastic series. It was really
Shirobako?
interesting. Shirobako, that's what it was.
Nailed it.
Shirobako was fantastic. There is no other anime like Shirobako. And I think that was like 10 years ago.
I Googled I Googled making anime the anime.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Google. I thought Zenshu was going to be like that, and I'm kind of disappointed that it's an isekai. Not gonna lie.
I mean, as long as it's in that vein, I think it's pretty good. That kind of description of like a beloved show that kind of got updated for new audiences reminds me of like Yakatache Japan and then Shokugeki no Soma with
Okay.
the food animes. Big bump, but I always love Yakatache Japan. That kind of brought like food anime into focus. So
Now, having that said, even if it is isekai slop, it is really, really well made isekai slop. It is a love letter to the art of animation because her isekai cheat skill is she summons an animation booth and animates the thing that she needs to win.
yeah, that sounds pretty OP.
It's cool. It is. I do love it. But why did it have to be isekai? I wanted something different.
I will say as well, and this goes back to the fall anime review when we were talking about Kimi wa Meiro-sama. You know, even if it's made really well from a production standpoint, if the story is not great, there's no point in watching it, in my opinion. Like you can watch slop and still not like well animated slop doesn't mean it's what's the term? Lipstick on a pig?
Fair. Now, quite frankly, Mappa's track record is really good.
Mm.
Like as far as the studio goes, I trust Mappa to make good anime and crush the souls of their animators, which is really, really. We've got a couple anime like this on the list to talk about. We've
Yeah.
got an anime about an overworked animator being done by a studio who famously overworks their animators.
It seems like a blink twice if you need help situation.
For real. For real. Which is even more true for our next anime on the list.
The title is I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time. It's by Cloverworks, and it's an action
Cloverworks!
adventure. Alina thought she had found the perfect job as a guild receptionist. It's stable, safe, and has a super cute uniform. But this dream gig turns into an overtime nightmare whenever adventurers get stuck clearing a dungeon. Tired of the long nights, Alina starts taking down the bosses herself. She even earns the name executioner for her impressive skills. Can she keep her identity a secret?
Cloverworks!
Yeah.
Cloverworks is making an anime about people being stressed from overtime and crunch culture. Cloverworks is making an anime about people being stressed about overtime and crunch culture. Cloverworks.
Blink twice.
You can't tell them to do that because they'll be blinking so fast that their eyelids will break the sound barrier and their eyes will explode.
Their eyes will be bleeding. I've often said that art, anime included, tends to be commentary of the world around it.
100%.
That has no bearing here, though, clearly.
Clearly.
We don't live in an
Clearly.
RPG fantasy world, and animators are not secretaries who have to stay and work overtime. There's no parallels to be drawn.
There's no parallels to be drawn here, clearly. Having that said, Cloverworks does make exceptionally gorgeous anime. And quite frankly, the trailer for this, I didn't realize what this anime was going to look like. I thought it was the seasonal fantasy slop, because there's a lot of that this season. But having watched the trailer, I'm actually excited to go watch this. I want to check it out. Hopefully they can stick the landing, because that has been one of Cloverworks' famous issues. Because they overwork their animators. They never have time to actually do the ending right. It always gets messed up, hecked up. But this does look really cool. This does look really good.
I'm not really into the game as an anime genre, to be honest, but I don't know. The concept is okay. I like that she is an Unga Bunga hammer user.
Same.
At least in the trailer. It's core to my soul to Unga Bunga. I've Unga Bunga since Bushido Blade.
Fucking Bushido Blade. You used the hammer in Bushido Blade?
Yeah, and I got good at it. I got really good at it.
Oh my god. I used the little twink boy who always used the rapier. The hammer was my mortal enemy.
Nah, dude. Hammer. And I've continued that deep into my monster hunting activities, so Unga Bunga is core to my soul.
I just always have loved the trope of small woman with giant weapon. It doesn't matter
giant weapon is one thing, but hammer is like
exactly
it's different. It's
like
different.
Giant axes, giant hammers, things like that. They're just so satisfying.
It's a good time.
It's really good.
Back to the show, I probably wouldn't watch it. I agree that it's well animated. I agree that it has like a fun enough premise, but yeah, it's just not really a show for me. I highly doubt that once we do our preview show episodes as well, I don't think it would grab me, but I would still enjoy watching it on a very casual note, just not something that I would actually want to continue with as a whole series.
That's fair. Honestly, I think that I can probably enjoy this. I actually do like fantasy setting anime quite a bit. And even the ones that gratuitously borrow from RPG games and such of that, things of that nature. Sometimes I criticize them for being too video gamey to the point where it makes for lazy story writing. I don't think that's going to be the issue here. I'm kind of here for this one. If Cloverworks has once again taken all of their animators and shoved them in a meat grinder and spread that over some animation frames, I feel like it's my duty to at least watch it.
It'll be at least a good first episode. Stepping back for a minute, I actually think all the first episodes will be at least decent.
I think so too. For the most part, because I have watched the first episode. Dio and I have watched the first episode of Momentary Lily by Studio Gohans, an action anime. Robotic invaders wiped out all life, but Renge fights to survive using her powers. With no memories, she roams the city until she meets 5 other young women, each with unique abilities. Together, they make the most of their lives, cooking delicious meals between battles with mechanical monstrosities. As they uncover the secrets of their powers and pasts, they find strength in their friendship. The moment I said go hands, a red flag should be in your mind. Studio Go Hands has a style. Like, when you think of certain studios having certain styles, you think of maybe, oh god, what is their name? The studio behind Danmachi and Toradora.
I remember watching Toradora. That was probably one of the last few series I finished.
When you think of Gynax and they've got the bodacious babes piloting robots, that is their style. When you think of Studio Go Hands, they have very shiny CG backgrounds, really, really weird camera angles, and 90% of the animation budget put on individual strands of hair to the point where it actively looks bad. That is the Go Hands style.
Look, this is an apocalyptic setting where there's constant wind. Can't you just respect the always wind?
I can't. This anime,
I did notice that. I noticed all the things you were talking about for sure. Like it's very present even in the trailer. There were a couple of weird low angle, like not low angle as in like they were trying to do fan service low angle, but just like a camera close to the ground and the character and there's like a fisheye almost
yeah.
look to the entire shot, and then the hair flying around is very prominent. I don't actually hate the hair flying around if it wasn't so much of it. Like, yes,
it's distracting is what it is. It's really distracting.
What's weird is that there are some shots where the hair is moving, but it's not blowing all the time. And that looks better because it feels like it's been moderated somewhat.
Now, the one thing that I can say about this is it feels like Gohan's has a little bit restrained themselves on the egregiously weird camera angles. Last season or the season before, there was some high school drama done by Gohan's, and the opening sequence was like a 1 camera long shot that was going to exceptionally strange camera angles, getting the most confusing and nauseating perspective. And when Dio and I were watching this, we actually didn't get that feeling. One thing that I could say is that the fight choreography, because they're magical girls effectively, they're magical girls fighting giant robot things, it almost felt a little bit Ruby-esque, which is not something you would expect out of a mostly 2D animated work, just because that's a lot of work to do in 2D. Mm-hmm. But it helps that the backgrounds are 3D, that the enemy dudes are 3D, and they do not try to make the 3D look 2D. They are
full send on it.
They are proudly and obviously at odds with each other.
The vibe I got, like, yes, I know it's post-apocalyptic, but it gives me Madoka vibes.
Yes,
somehow.
100%.
I don't want to say she's a magical girl in this regard, but there's magical girl elements, right?
They are.
Okay.
They strictly are.
Except instead of like magic, it's actual weaponry. Because I saw a big ass sword at some point. And some
it's
other stuff.
Giant magic bullshit weapons.
Yeah. I have the feeling that, yeah, like it's gonna maybe by episode 3 or 4 or whenever somebody gets beloved too much or has too much good going on, they're probably going to get wiped from the party, is my guess.
So there is an One-chan character, there's like an older sister character, and I expect her to die very early on for the only reason that they are way overdoing the fan service on her. She got some big old thangs be thangin'. She will take a single breath and the physics engine will go insane, if you catch my drift.
I see. That's the qualification for dying. It used to be that just being the best friend was enough.
No.
But now physics has to come into play.
They are going too insane for them to be able to afford to do that for 12 episodes. They're gonna kill off the Onechan, I guarantee it.
Let's see. Don't know if I'll watch this either for a series. This is a bad reason, but I try not to watch shows that I feel like I've watched before.
Okay.
So when I mention I've seen Madoka, I'm like, I don't need a momentary Lily to replace a Madoka. So
Jay out here literally saying I have not been able to watch a magical anime in 15 years, and it's going to keep being that way.
probably. I mean, I also feel like I've left that genre behind. Like I have watched all of Sailor Moon. I watched all of Cardcaptor Sakura. I never watched Precure, I think is the other really big one.
Yeah, no, we are definitely not the age group for Precure. We are definitely not the target demographic.
Yeah, and well, I don't think I never even started watching that one. I just know of it because there's actually another when we were digging for shows, there was another season of Precure.
There is
all right.
always another season of Precure.
Yeah. Momentary Lily and Madoka just feels too predictable. That's my problem I have with it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's valid. Like,
Yeah.
when I was watching it, I felt like I do enjoy the character interactions. I enjoy the characterization of them. For the most part, the character designs are all right. But I simply cannot get over the hurdle that is watching a Gohan's anime. It is so visually striking in an unappealing way to me that I can't watch
That's also fair.
It is, and it's sad because, like, on one level, it is technically impressive on what they're able to do. But Gohan's,
you just don't like the way it's delivered. Like they have, in your opinion, they've put all the animation emphasis on the wrong things. And
exactly. Gohan's is the epitome of just because you can doesn't mean you should.
the next thing they'll have is like super well eyelashed characters, and all of those eyelashes will be fluttering in the wind as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
It's almost like a flex animation.
That's
studio.
the thing. They flex in the weirdest ways. Like that one
Yeah.
one long shot animation thing from the high school anime from like 2 seasons ago. That was a really obvious flex that they were trying to do. And people just memed on it because, yes, it is technically impressive, but it was bad. Like you did something you accomplished something that's very hard to do, but it was bad. You shouldn't have done it.
What's funny is I was just looking back at what they have done, and the other thing that they've done that we have previewed before is the masterful cat is depressed again today. Do you remember? It's the big cat who takes care of a little human.
Oh, yes. And do you remember how when we were watching that, we were criticizing the backgrounds for looking flat and shiny constantly? That is the Gohan's way.
Maybe we should have continued with that show just to see if the cat's fur was exceptionally blowing in the wind.
I don't think his fur was, but the office lady's hair definitely was. 100%.
The next show we have seems amazing. The Middle-Aged Man That Reincarnated as a Villainess by Agiato, and it's a comedy fantasy anime, if you couldn't tell by the title. After a traffic accident, 52-year-old civil servant Kenzaburo Tondabayashi awakens to find he's become Grace Alvergine, a duke's daughter, and more importantly, the villainess of an Otomo game. Not wanting to get into the happy endings of the young characters around him, Grace sets out to play the role of the villain. But whether it's due to Kenzaburo's memories of being an affectionate parent getting in the way, or not being able to remember those pesky foreign names properly, it ends up being a lot harder than it looks.
I am so here for this anime. It is so stupid.
I will say everything that I said about an isekai earlier doesn't apply here because no, it doesn't apply here.
No, it does.
It's fun because this is
okay.
At least the concept to me is novel.
It is. It really is. this I frequently every single time I try to watch a villainous anime, I always criticize it being like, why are they pretending to be a villain when they're clearly good? Like so often the trope is that, oh my god, I'm such a villain because I know I'm supposed to be the villain, but I've only been a saint ever since I've reincarnated. Oh, you must hate me because I'm a villain though. This guy is such a breath of fresh air in just anime in general. And quite frankly, it is very easy for me to self-insert as him because I too am a bald middle-aged man. This is wonderful. This is for me. This was made for me.
I just like that he is actually trying to do the good thing by essentially being the character that everybody hates so that everybody else can sort of have a rallying point of everyone hates this guy or this girl in this case for the actual in-game character. By having him be the focus of the hate, everyone else's lives can and storylines can progress happily and smoothly.
Oh god no. Oh god no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to ruin your view on this, but that criticism of the villainous not really being a villain at all, it is still very true in this.
I mean, yes.
100%. He tries to be like a stern nagging sort of person, and everyone is just feeling the fatherly vibes.
I like that too.
It's so good. It's so wholesome. Oh,
Even the I like the art. The little
oh, the art style when you're watching it, it can
Yeah.
feel a little bit
No, I
flat.
meant more like the actual
But
promo art. Like not the animation. I'm just talking about the fact that you have there's a little cast of Otomo game
Yeah.
characters who are all wearing, I don't know, what do you call that style of clothing? It's sort of fantasy-ish.
pseudo Victorian.
Yeah. But they're all, looking very European, and then you have just an image of an old
A giant portrait of a Japanese salaryman.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's really good.
And what I love is that in so many isekai, the main character who gets isekai'd, it is basically forgotten that they're isekai'd within the first minute, and then they only bring that up to break the fourth wall later on. Most isekai don't need to be isekai in that way. In this way, the main character has two voice actors because his inner monologue is always the 52-year-old civil servant Kenzaburo, and frequently he'll be standing behind the main character, Grace Auvergne, as like a JoJo stand even. And so sometimes it's her voice, sometimes it's his voice, and it's always funny. Like I really love this one so far.
It has fun vibes. I would watch it.
It's got charm.
I would watch it.
It's got charm.
Even though the animation is not as beautiful and the hair is not flapping, mainly because he's balding anyways. Actually, he is bald.
And the main character has drill hair. They do animate the drill hair.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. It's not to the standard that Gohans expects of us. But Studio Agiato puts the animation where it matters. Into the lip flaps.
Speaking of isekais, fun fact, isekais are so prominent that Wikipedia, yes, your standard English Wikipedia, has a page. Truck-kun has his own page.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It talks about how it's an internet meme and how it's a trope.
That's amazing.
The image that they use for it is pretty funny too.
Wait a minute, why does that guy only have 3 fingers? This is anime. We expect more than that.
It's because it's an AI generated image of anime.
Oh, are you sure about that?
I don't know. I have no idea where that's from. I have a feeling it's very generic.
Truck-kun's role is to kill people in their original world and subsequently send them to a new one. And I will say that Truck-kun does make an appearance in The Middle-Aged Man that reincarnated as a villainess.
Yes.
Our favorite isekai protagonist, Truck-kun, here again, doing what we love.
In the Wikipedia article, in 2017, an anime fan compiled a list of causes of death among isekai protagonists, which was updated in 2018. Deaths caused by traffic accident by truck came third in the study with 37 cases.
Only third.
With general traffic accidents coming second with 38 cases, and unknown causes first with 102 cases.
Wow, it is so lazy that most isekai is just like, yeah, they died, but we don't really care how.
Yeah.
That's not important.
That's even worse than not having Truck-kun.
For real. Come on, just give the truck his cameo.
He appeared to have died from consumption. If you don't know, consumption is actually tuberculosis. Yeah,
tuberculosis, right? Yeah.
That's an actual cause.
Oh yeah. That is the classic term for it.
Anyways,
now it is time for our last anime on the list, the last one we're going to be looking at today.
Please, Angelo.
BABABABAMpire.
There you go.
By Studio Gaina. Gaina, a comedy, romance, supernatural anime. When 15-year-old Rihito falls in love, an ancient vampire who craves 18-year-old virgin blood must protect the teen's virginity at all costs.
That's it. That's the show. There's
Excuse
no
me?
other preview written for the show.
Excuse me.
We love that it is made by Gaina, not Gainax.
Gaina.
Gaina.
Now we were like, Gaina. Who the hell is Gaina?
I was like, that must be a typo.
Why are they called Gaina? Apparently, it used to be Fukushima Gainax. They were called Fukushima Gainax, and they're an offshoot of Gainax from Fukushima, and they renamed as Gaina in 2018.
There will be no brand confusion there at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Especially not when apparently they're working on an aim for the top 3, like a new Gunbuster OVA.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that whenever it happens. I'm going to force that on Jay and Nancy. But right now, we're talking about Bob and Bob and God damn. This is the hardest thing ever since Bo.
Baban, I think my attempt is, it's Babanba. It's Babanba Ban Vampire. But also, in Japanese, it would be Babanba Ban Banpaya.
No, because it would be ba bon 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 ba bon ba bon ba ba ba
Bam 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 bang
the
bang
ba
bang.
sound is always the same. It wouldn't be ban, it would be bon.
It would be bon. It would be baban ba bon
And
bon.
the joke's like
bon.
vampire is bonpire.
It's bonpire. Bonpire. I don't know.
Bonpire.
Anyways,
Bonpire.
and that's enough about the title. I chose this. I will take no criticism for choosing this.
Oh, it's such a ridiculous premise. We have to talk.
We have to talk about the trailer. Okay, on the surface,
that was, I mean this lovingly, the gayest trailer I've ever watched.
I will say, okay, so when we're selecting shows, you know, there's usually a brief preview of what it might be before the trailer. Like you have to kind of click into the to the article to see the trailer, but I saw the title. I was like, that sounds dumb. And then I read the first line, which is, by the way, the only line of the description, which is the 15-year-old Rito falls in love, and 18-year-old an ancient vampire craves 18-year-old blood. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be really cheesy Twilight level crap. It is not.
Watching the trailer, it was really well animated. It was like peak Gainax animation.
Put respect on Babanba Banpire's name.
I need to watch this because it is so stupid of a premise that's really well executed. This thing happens on this podcast where I will read an episode description, an anime description, and I will say that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and then it will be amazing. I think the classic example of this was when Jujutsu Kaisen came out, and its description was all about how Yuji was slurping them fingies. I was like, this is so dumb. The finger licking good anime, and then JJK turned into one of the best things ever. I don't think BABABABABampire is going to be the next JJK. I really don't. But my initial reaction is this is stupid, that I'm taking a step back and being, if I think it's that dumb, they're cooking.
Could be. You know, I chose it. I honestly chose it just for the title and the really bad description alone, because we typically watch the trailers together after we choose the show. So we actually don't, like, Angelo typically has seen maybe an episode or two, so he will know a little bit
more. If we're
more.
late to the episode, then I've seen things.
Yeah, but sometimes there's things that he hasn't watched yet, or hasn't come out, or it didn't pique his interest.
I have not even heard of this before. This is so out of left field.
I want to describe a little bit of the things that we've seen in the trailer. First of all, this is not, as you can maybe tell, the subject matter may not exactly be G, but I think it is maybe P.
Oh, it was a horny looking trailer.
I don't know if it would still qualify for PG here. It might be a 14A, but it doesn't get, I think, beyond that.
It ain't no Ishizoku reviewers.
I will put myself out there that I made a mistake. I assumed that Rihito was maybe female. Okay. Rihito is not female. The main vampire is a guy. He is who knows how old. The main love interest is also a guy. But 15 is a bad age. We don't want that. So I think the whole show is basically trying to keep him alive for 3 years until he becomes legal before he drinks his blood.
I don't know. I want to ask you something, and it might be did the vampire feel Michael Jackson coded to you?
Don't all vampires feel somewhat Michael Jackson encoded?
Not really, but this one especially.
I mean, the look is kind of, but I mean, what are you saying? Like, I didn't see any moonwalking.
Not the moonwalking.
If you're saying he is dark,
exceptionally pale,
is
now that I get you, exceptionally pale, extremely pointy nose, long shoulder length hair.
I'll have you know that Michael Jackson was not known for an extremely pointy nose. It was probably the exact opposite.
No, he had so many nose jobs that it was kind of.
It was crumbling. That was the
yes.
problem. Anyways,
yes, I mean, and quite frankly, it turns out that all allegations against him were basically false. That it was a gigantic smear campaign against him.
Not surprised. It was like he looked different, so he must be bad.
But when it comes to this, I don't know. Part of me is like holding reservation, being like, what's going on here? What's going to happen here?
The things that we saw in the trailer, in no particular order, because things happened quickly. I saw Wagyu beef.
Oh, you saw Wagyu beef. I thought I was seeing some sausage instead.
I saw Wagyu beef. I saw several angled close-ups of tent pitching. I did not think we were going camping, but it turned out to be a camping anime.
Oh my god, I laughed so hard I peaked.
Peaked. Oh. P-E-A-K-E-D, not peaked. Just to be clear. His audio peaked.
Oh god.
There was a lot. There was a lot of little things going on. It might not end up having a lot of substance over the course of a series. I didn't check how many episodes it will be slated for, but I am at least very much looking forward to the first episode.
Yes, same here. It looks like hot garbage that is polished to a mirror finished. It is just Oh my god. That's all we can really say about it.
It's a, I don't think we can talk about it and do any justice to it. You have, oh, there's a descriptor that we wanted to talk about. If JoJo's Bizarre Adventures was not JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, but instead it was a gay vampire relationship, that is what you're going to get.
Which is surprising because a lot of JoJo is already that. They're just bringing it to the foreground.
Yeah, they've concentrated the product.
They've really concentrated the product here. Oh, now we have to concentrate on getting a new episode out next week. So let's let you marinate with these anime, dear viewer. And we will see you 1 week from now.
Take care.
Bye-bye.